Welcome back to 30 Days of Lightroom, and in this video we're going to talk about spot removal. So I'm just here in Lightroom Classic. I'm making some edits to this image that I have of the Air Force Thunderbirds. This was a little air show that I photographed, and I'm going and making some edits, some tweaks. And a lot of people like to use spot removal for removing spots, specks of dust, little bits of water, things like that from your image. And spot removal is the perfect tool to do that, make a bunch of little minor edits. So let's check out what we can do with the spot removal tool. So you can see I did a little bit of spot removal here. Spot removal works similarly to our adjustments, like our radial filter, our graduated filter, and our adjustment brush, where you will create these little brush nodes right here on your image. And to select them, you can just click, and now we can go back and we can re-edit. Again, non-destructive editing, because we can always go back and delete these if we want to by hitting delete on the keyboard. But look at that, we just completely removed two jets from this image. So I can go ahead, and if I want to turn spot removal off, just like any other tool, I can just hit the light switch. And there we go, our jets come right back. I think that is an awesome feature. You can remove people from images. You can do all sorts of cool things. So now let's actually jump in and learn how to use the spot removal tool. I'm going to go ahead and delete this, and we can redo it from scratch. Again, all you have to do is select your little spot removal node and hit delete on the keyboard. So if you didn't already know, the spot removal tool is this little circle with an arrow in the upper right hand corner of my image. We can close out some of these other tabs just so we're not getting distracted, and we can focus on our spot removal tool. Now again, this is great for removing bits of dust and specks that may be on your lens or your sensor, or you can remove entire objects like the jets we have here. Now we have two different options. We can clone, which is literally copying and pasting pixels. You can see here, we can clone, and you can see this is our sample, our second little circle, and all it is doing is copying pixels from our sample circle over here and pasting them over here. If we were to select heal is kind of a smart copy and paste, where it samples these pixels over here where you're copying from, and it also samples some of the pixels where you're pasting those other pixels to. So you can see as we make minor changes to where we're pasting those pixels to, it is making minor changes to the pixels that we are copying. So like I said, it's kind of a smart tool. It is healing the area instead of directly pasting. So depending on the situation, you may have to go back and forth between cloning and healing and see what looks best. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to delete this mask. And just as a reminder, you have the option of clicking if you just have a little speck of dust, or you can paint out entire objects by holding your left mouse button and clicking and dragging. So we're going to paint out these entire jets here. And you can see our sample pixels right here. This is not really working very well. So we're going to click and drag. And I want to sample from this area over to the right where there are no jets. And that's not such a great sample area. You can see it doesn't really match up with the area we want to paste out. So let's go over here. Let's sample from this area. Sometimes it takes a second to load. Sample from the left over here. We'll let Lightroom load. And you can see from our sample area, we had part of the front of the jet. So that's not going to work either. So let's go ahead and let's try it one more time to paint this in. I'm going to hit delete on the keyboard. And this happens where it takes a couple tries every now and then. You have to try different samples. It's really a trial and error game, trying to get your mask correct, trying to get your sample area correct, and also getting these other settings correct. The size of your brush. You can see here we change the size of our brush. We can change how much our brush is feathered, or the softness of our brush, and then we can change the opacity of our final mask. So let's go in and let's try and paint these out one more time and try a different sample area as well. Again, we are sampling right on top of our other jets. We don't want to do that. Let's try over to the left. We're getting kind of close. I don't love that cloud right here. Let's try sampling even farther to the left. We did crop this in quite a bit, so we do have some extra pixels outside of this composition that we're sampling from. And that's looking pretty close. Let's see what heel does. Ooh, heel looks a lot better. I think that looks pretty good. I think that's gonna work. I'm gonna press return on the keyboard. We still have our adjustment brush tool up. I'm gonna hit return again to close it out. And I think that looks pretty darn good. Again, if we go to our crop tool, you can see we have these extra pixels on the left, the right, the top, and the bottom to work with. So if we wanted to, we can open up our composition a little bit. That looks pretty good. Or we can really crop in and focus on these two jets that we left in our composition. I think that looks pretty cool. So those are the basics on how to use the spot removal tool. Again, you can use this tool on something as tiny as a speck of dust. For example, I think I have some dust spots. Here we go. We have some dust spots in this image that I'd like to get rid of. I can turn this brush size down quite a bit. And if we want to, we can just click and it automatically samples, hit enter, and our dust spot is gone. You can do something that simple, or you can remove entire aircraft from your images. And another scenario the spot removal tool really helps out is, let's say you're capturing a giant landscape image and you happen to have a couple tourists or hikers or someone walk through your frame. You can just use this spot removal tool and completely paint them out. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the spot removal tool, and I really hope you're enjoying this 30 Days of Lightroom tutorial series. If you found this video valuable, please hit that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, get out and go shoot.